take me back. So actually, let's start just for the audience. Just tell me who Daniel Mullings is and where it all began, where you're from, and then I have one specific question I wanted to ask you, just because it's a big deal. And so go ahead.
So my name is Daniel Mullings from Scarborough, Ontario. Background information. Well, I started basketball playing. I fell in love with it at the age of 7, and joined my first rep team, organized team when I was 9. I started off. I was just playing, just around the neighborhood first, like at school or whatever. I had an older cousin. She played basketball as well, and she was nice. And so I used to just trail her, be on her tail whenever she lived in the West End. And then I used to trail her wherever she went. And we used to play basketball all day, all night, as much as we could, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that love came from that, and went forward to me going to a house league. It was like my other cousin, he played house league, and it was like the last day, and his mom took us with them to the gym. I think it was, I want to say David and Mary Thompson. And it was just the last day, so they let me play. And I just took that love that I used to play at recess and things like that, and I just played, and it was like I was just better than everybody. I was just like stealing the ball, and I was super small, like small and fast, so I was just stealing the ball, layup, back and forth. And then one coach was like, "Whose kid is this? We gotta." And then he spoke to my mom and told her like she should take me to an actual rep tryout. So that's where I went, and I was fortunate enough to make it. And on the number 1 team for our age. So that was a great experience. And from then on to high school, I was on like rep Scarborough Blues is what it's called. I was on a rep team and played throughout there, and then also played basketball in elementary school. It took me all the way to high school.
Wow. Now, much of that influence and just encouragement came from your mom too, right? Because you were telling me at one point she was a track athlete.
Yes. Yeah. So my mother's is funny. Like she's always very competitive. Yeah. So she used to run track. When we were younger, we all ran track. I have 2 younger brothers. We all ran track, right? So and it's funny when we used to run like the relays. So I was always the anchor, right? That last little 100, no kidding, she ran it with me on the sideline cheering, like let's go D, like ran with
keeping
me.
up with
me, like no, for real, supporting and pushing me, that really like helped me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's funny because I never really looked at it as kind of like embarrassing. You know how some people would think it's embarrassing. I feel like I was just in a zone, and it helped me. It fueled me, it pushed me, you know what I mean? So then even when I ran, the sprints by myself too, she would run that shit with me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's also a testament to the relationship and bond that you have with her. And most kids growing up is, they don't want their parents around because they don't have that rapport. So she had some sort of rapport with you. To be right there in you, and you had no problem with it.
Yeah, like no, I appreciated it.
Yeah.
We grew up with just her.
Yeah,
just her around. Single mother. She raised us, and she's very passionate, and she loved all of us and supported all of us any way she could. You know what I mean? So it was like all that emotion and everything that she put into that. We just wanted to repay her.
Perfect.
And very thankful for that, and we have like a very special bond, especially her and I. I'm the oldest, so it's like growing up, kind of like all the talks and the things that she was going through and things like that. It was just like the kind of like a vent kind of thing, and I was there to just to give her an ear to listen to. You know what I mean? And also just learned a lot. It's to this day, a lot of the time we spent together like that. It helped me become like the man I am, and as far as like principles and the way how I move and how I look at things, you know what I mean? Like it's just being able to listen and then transfer that to and apply that to my life.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. We've talked a lot, obviously, off air, but I can see that definitely.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you, during high school, much of the programs through your high school, you've developed through high school. Was there time that you took away just developing on your own during that time?
Of course.
Let's talk about
that. Because in high school?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Like, to me, like, high school was just an add-on.
Yeah.
Now that I look at it, because I love the game so much. My mom bought us a basketball net, so we had a little basketball net at the house. A couple of my friends had like a basketball net here and there. Wherever we could play outside, we played. You know what I mean? It's like wherever we could, whatever court outside we can go to, whatever neighborhood, we played basketball regardless. So that was like, that was my my sanctuary, just being outside. I loved outside more than even playing inside, because that was just available to us more than an actual gym. You know what I mean? I just remember so much that even sometimes playing outside with some friends and my brothers and cousins and things like that, it's like I didn't even want to go to practice, to actual rep team practice, or you know what I mean, or I was ready to finish basketball practice at school to go play.
The competition is different.
Yeah,
it's
on
different.
The street, playing on the street outside,
Yeah.
like that, it's different.
It's
you know what I mean? Like
it actually pushes you, because
of course,
really, when you think about it, it's all on your terms.
Right.
Like it's not really supervised in, let's say, in high school.
Right.
So
right.
that up tempo, the competition level, is like beyond.
It's of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said. Outside playing street ball, it's like there's no rules, no
fault.
There's no authority out there to tell you guys out. Check
no
ball
blood,
here.
no foul.
No blood, no foul. Like better not call a foul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You better finish through contact.
Right.
Like so doing that, playing outside on the street like that I would say helped build me up, you know what I mean, and helped me to be a lot tougher, along with when I was a teenager, like 14, 15, 16, I played with, at like 14, 15, I was already playing with grown men in like men's leagues, because of some of the coaches that I had, that was my rep team coach. Some of my teammates, their fathers still played basketball. Like, used to play and then still played in men's leagues. Like that coached us, right? And I was always just like tough, and then just very competitive, So I'd always try to even compete with like the coaches, and they would challenge me, you know what I mean? And I accept the challenge and go back and forth. So it's like one time, one of my teammates, his dad just took me with him, you know what I mean? Because I think I was just spending like maybe the night, or they were taking me home or something, because my mom was at work, and I guess he had a game, so he just took me with him. Oh, you're coming with me. Brought me to the men's league and just threw me to the wolves, pretty much. You know what I mean? And you have to learn. You have to
sink or swim.
You have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nobody's feeling sorry for you if everybody's playing. No one's gonna take it easy on me because I'm a teenager. You know what I mean? And I was like the guy that was trying to jump and get every rebound over all the big guys, and I'm trying to drive in with the big guys' contact, and they're telling me like, yo, you better watch it. You come back in here, I'm gonna give you an elbow. And I'm going back in there, boom, getting the elbow, getting up. You know what I mean? So it's like things like that. That's what made me made me and like fearless,
And so those off court experiences, meaning from outside of school, then just made your game that much better during high school and your tournaments and things like that.
Yeah.
After high school, you went to D1.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so high school.
For those that don't know, D1 is Division I NCAA.
Yes. So and that was a long process in itself, I would say. I had some, great success in high school. Ninth grade, it was a little slow. I was on a team that was 9th and 10th grade. I didn't play much. I was very small. I was like 5'4", 5'3". I still should have played though. I still should have started and played, but that's another story. But then
that's the mind of an athlete.
like
It's supposed to be like that.
10th grade, 11th grade. Now that's when I began to build my name, and I feel like after my 10th grade year, my name started buzzing a little bit, going around, and from there I just kept ascending higher and higher. You know what I mean? And my last year, 12th grade, there was like an All Canada Classic, like All-Star game, and I got invited to it, right? And it's crazy because you see a lot of guys that were invited, they all already committed to universities or going. You know what I mean? Like Gonzaga here, like this guy going over here, Texas here. You know what I mean? Like, and they were the guys that were mainly being talked about. At that time, being in the Team Canada system in that pool. So it's a little bit more. They had like a little bit more notoriety and things like that, right? And I was more like on a, I don't know, more like a type underdog type of level. You know what I mean? So it was like, I was kind of pissed at that. I was kind of pissed at that because I just felt like, I truly felt like I was just better than a lot of guys. Like I was, you know what I mean? I just felt like I was getting no recognition. Me and one of my teammates too. His name is Anthony Otley. Shout him out. That's my guy. We were kind of like the underdogs. Like we were. Our name was buzzing like on a lower kind of level, but these guys had more notoriety. Not taking anything from them.
Where are they from?
All over.
Like on Canada side?
Yeah,
okay.
Canada side.
Okay.
So it's like, like not taking away from them, but it's just like we just felt like, damn, like we should be talked about a little bit too, and all the media was around them. But so I think that for me, that kind of added that extra fuel to the fire.
But in anything, if you don't believe that you're the best or you're very capable, you're just counting yourself out.
Right.
That's just it.
Right.
Yeah. But so it's natural for you to think like that.
Yeah, it starts with self-belief first.
Yeah.
You really, truly got to believe. You just can't tell yourself, oh, man, I feel like I'm better or I should have been here and there. You know what I mean? You also got to be honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm very honest with myself. It's like if I feel like, I didn't do enough to really get there or whatnot, then that's what it is. But I really felt like, like I knew I belonged there and I felt like I should have been highlighted more. And I feel like that's what kind of fueled me. You know what I mean? So fast forward to that game, I had a great game. Actually had like 32 points. You know what I mean? Like Mike Kabongo, who won the MVP for that. Shout him out too. That's my boy.
Shout out. Yeah.
So he was on a white team, so they won, so he got the MVP. But it's like I had 32 on the red team. It's like I would have got it if we won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But battling through there, that really, again, I proved myself right of what I already knew, right? And I feel like that too put me on another level of just being my name mentioned and, schools. Now, a couple schools like coming in with interest, things like that. But the thing with I didn't qualify. At first, I didn't qualify to go to Division I. So before I went to Division I, I had a couple like junior colleges hit me up. I had one in Texas, like one of the top ones in Texas, and then also Tallahassee as well in Florida. And that's what I was gonna go there. I knew there's a couple people from like actual Toronto that was already going there that I spoke to the coach, and like I had my mind made up that I was gonna go there. And but the kicker was junior college is 2 years, and then you go to Division I and have 2 years of eligibility, right? And I was good with that because I bet on myself. I was like, I just need this much to get over to America. That's all I need. But the coach from New Mexico State, the assistant coach, he's Canadian, Paul Weir, and he spoke to me, but he also spoke to my mom, right? And so my mom and I have like a great relationship, right? And so she had like a lot of input. Like she was talking to him, and obviously when the part that came was he could go to university 4 years, get his degree, and he'll have 4 years of eligibility instead of 2. He just has to sit. The kicker was I had to sit out a year. I had to redshirt a year. You know what I mean? But
take it.
Yeah, but coming from a player that's never sat out before, like from playing basketball, like school. I'm going to school because I know we have basketball. You know what I mean? Like all growing up, I had played basketball, and like this year, you're telling me I'm going to be at the school, at the university. Everybody else is gonna play, but I can't play. So I have to sit there and watch for the whole year. Now, it's not like it was like a semester or a couple weeks, whole year. You know what I mean? But that was so that was something I was like, I want to play right away.
Yeah.
But
that was an opportunity. Obviously, if you see it now, your older self, that was an era in time where growth.
Yeah.
And just, growth in general.
Yeah.
To come up being a high school start and
Right.
having all these wish,
Right.
and then full stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big pill to swallow, no?
Yeah, of course. It was very, very tough. And I had my mind made. I was sold on going to the Tallahassee, to the junior college.
You're fine, yeah.
I was good. But then next thing you know, everything was done already with New Mexico State. Yeah, because my mom spoke to him and was like, he's coming. I told him, he called me and he's like, yeah, what do you think? I'm like, man, yes. No. I remember I was in my homie's house, we were walking around and he's like, yeah, so what are you thinking? I'm like, yeah, I like it. It's cool, but I don't know. I told him, I don't know because I got to sit out a year.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's like, yo, but you got to think the long run, and I'm not hearing it. You know what I mean? I'm being hard-headed because I'm younger. Yeah. So then he knew it. He went to my mom. I started hearing from him. He just went to my mom, and my mom said, he's going.
Executive decision.
He's going. And then that's how I got to New Mexico State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to, because at that moment in time, I think the audience doesn't know, at that point in time, the level of competition surrounding basketball from Canada and what they have to go against the States, it was a hell of a competition.
Yeah. That competition was it was a lot, especially back then. It was like Canada wasn't fully equipped or as advanced as the States was, right? We were kind of like, it was almost like we were kind of catching up.
Right.
Like now you see there's prep schools everywhere in the city, in Canada there's prep schools everywhere. So there's like
development.
There's development early, like as far as nutrition, all the things that they were doing in the States with the prep schools, with the nutritionists and guys were working out at early ages. Like we were far behind that. Like when around my time, it was a few guys that were going like to prep schools. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was around the time when like Tristan and Corey were going to like prep schools and things like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was a small percentage of people that were actually going. So and even playing AAU as well. You know what I mean? It's just like there isn't as many opportunities, as many AAU teams as there is now. I never played AAU.
And when you say AAU, what would that be?
It's like basketball where you travel. When you travel around, they have like a travel team basically, and the team travels, to different places mainly throughout the States, and
gotcha.
And just playing certain tournaments like in Rochester, Syracuse,
Yeah,
things like that, like those kind of AAU trips. You know what I mean? I never really played AAU, but at that time, it wasn't as like prevalent and as it is now. You know what I mean? Like and I love it now. Like there's a lot of options for kids. There's a lot of even the video cameras and you have videographers and cameramen everywhere. Like I go in the gym now, every corner, every court, there's cameramen, videographers, and there's six courts in one building. You know what I mean? So think about a high schooler, right? You're in a big tournament and you're being videotaped, right? And it's directly going on a streaming service where coaches from everywhere can see you. You know what I mean?
Automatic, instant.
It's instant. Imagine a coach, like back in the days, if a coach is to come see a player, they'd probably have to go to one gym. You know what I mean? Like come see this guy in the West and then maybe save the trip to go see another guy in the East or wherever, right? Now you can literally bang it out in one weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in one day, like you can go to this right here take notes on the kid for a little bit, then go to another court, take notes on the kid for a little bit, boom. Like,
all from your comfort of your home, probably.
You know what I mean? You could do that from the comfort of your home.
Yeah.
And literally in one building.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I see. The organization.
The organization. So it's like one building. The scout can literally just go there, and there's a whole pool of players, right? And like right there. So yeah.
So from college, you went pro. Tell me a little bit about that. You played in Europe and all that. So what was that like? And
so yeah, after playing, playing in college and enjoying that, my career there, transitioning to the pro life was amazing for me. You know, I think I already enjoyed like just traveling, and just being on the road. Kind of like I kind of embraced it. You know, already leaving home in Toronto and going to America was already like being away from home. You know what I mean? And it was like, I knew I kind of enjoyed it because I never really got homesick like that. You know, obviously, you miss like, certain people and family members and things like that. But it's just like, you're enjoying playing basketball, and then you meet your brothers and then you form a brotherhood, right? So it's like that directly translated to the pro life. Firstly, going to Germany, obviously a whole nother country I've never been to, seeing how, professional everything is, that organization, professional. You go from going in the dorms to having your own apartment with your own car, and basically like you're on your own. You're an adult now. Like here's a schedule. We have practice at this time, these times during the week, and then this is your free time to do whatever you want. So think about having all that free time, like no school now, because in college, obviously you're playing basketball, but you have school, you have other duties. And now you come over here and literally your job is to play basketball. So after you do your job and you do extra, whatever, it's like get extra shots up or lift weights or whatever, things like that. Then it's like, what else do you do now? You have all this ample time and you're so far away from family and the time difference.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like you get done what you're doing and then you just call your friends and it's the same time and it's like, hey, what's up? Germany, I think it's like 7 hours different ahead, or 6 or 7 hours, right? So it's like now you have to time up when to talk to family members, friends. And it's like there's going to be a point in time where you guys are not up at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like adjusting to that. A big adjustment, obviously, is like the whole culture and food-wise. I feel like to make it overseas or to make it better on yourself, you have to be open-minded because obviously a lot of us...
such as life.
You know what I mean? Like such is life.
Yeah.
So a lot of us is like, we come from backgrounds where we're just so accustomed to a certain way of living or a certain way of eating. And it's like when it's not the way that you're used to, it's uncomfortable. You don't like it. A lot of people don't like being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And being uncomfortable is the key to growing.
Right.
And to elevating, you know what I mean? It's just like
Did you eat like a lot of sauerkraut with like, what was it? What was the cuisine like?
They had a lot of like
schnitzel
and that and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't really conform to that.
Of course,
but on the I know how to cook.
Yeah,
I know how to cook and stuff. You know what I mean? So I could fend for myself. But I'm not gonna lie, those earlier stages, it was a lot of takeout. So a lot. We had like a restaurant. It was like an American restaurant. They had burgers, fries, all that.
No shawarma spot or anything like that?
No, not sure. That's later in the journey. That's later in the journey.
That was a little too early.
That's later in the journey. The initial going to like starting off in Germany, it's like I'm still eating. Diet is still like burgers, fries, chicken wings. You know what I mean? And beer.
Yeah, and lots of beer.
A lot of beer. They love beer there. So like we literally go there and have that for every other meal. Yeah. You know what I mean?
When did your diet change to vegetarian?
there's a lot of transition. So now I'm a pescatarian, right? But before I got to that, because I just switched to a pescatarian literally in March this past year, right? But before that, I would say that I started to like pay attention to my diet and want to switch after I had a major major injury. I had microfracture surgery, and I had like, so basically that's like my cartilage. It was like worn down, you know what I mean? And I was missing like the size of like a quarter in my knee, my jumping knee, right? So I played through it that season in Finland. I just remember my knee just kept swelling up, played through it. And then after the season, I got surgery, right? So I had to miss a whole year. At that point, I was still like eating pork and stuff, right? And then I don't know, I had so much time that I just started trying to educate myself with certain things, you know what I mean? I was just watching, experimenting different things, cryptocurrency. Then it took me to like my health and food. And then I watched a documentary and I said, no more pork from this day on.
That's it.
No more. I couldn't. Yeah, I'm like, I can't. I was disgusted. I'm like, I can't believe I was even eating.
Yeah.
So I said, from there on, cut it out. Boom. Cut that out for like, that was in like 2017, 2018. Cut that out. Since then, And then, so basically it was everything else except for pork. And then as I kept going and going, I started cutting out more. I would say like another year, after that year or two, probably cut out like red meat and like beef and that stuff. But
you've seen that translated into your performance though. That's what you feel for recovery and everything else.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. And there's science behind it, obviously.
Yeah. So like the chicken, cutting that stuff out, is you're starting to feel better. But I felt like you mentioned, like the real change that I really seen was this past year. When I switched to a pescatarian diet.
And what is that?
It's basically you could eat, you just eat like fish, like seafood, fish and shrimp and stuff. That's the only type of meat that you eat, like pretty much. So everything else is off the mix except for fish. And it's like more obviously, so more veggies are involved, and you got to eat more, like put more nuts into your diet and fruits, and you know what I mean, just to help you get through that. And started eating hummus, all that, you know. And with the pescatarian diet, I started feeling way lighter. Like, you know, I've thought that, let me try it. I'm getting older now. I'm in my 30s. Let me try something else. I've heard about it, so let me try it. And then I felt the difference. I felt lighter. Like I wasn't getting swelling, like the inflammation. I wasn't getting, the recovery process was quicker. I felt more like refreshed and energized, in the mornings.
Right.
So, and it directly like correlated to my performance on court, where I felt like I could lock in to my flow state a lot easier.
And when you say flow state, describe that, what that is, because that's a specific mindful, conscious state that you put yourself into before a game, right?
Yeah. So it's basically like being in the zone. You know what I mean? Where you see how, so an example of that would probably be like when Kobe scores 81. You have to be in a certain mind frame, a certain mental, you know what I mean, to be able to lock in on what you want to accomplish, your goal, the task at hand. It's like you, it's kind of like you telling yourself, whatever you take your time to get into that zone. Like I like to meditate, you know what I mean? Like deep breathing exercises. Just simply closing your eyes and taking a minute to yourself, breathing, talking to yourself, you know what I mean? Psyching yourself up type of thing. And that helps you go into that flow state, into that zone to help you lock in. And I felt like after I switched my diet, it was just like I was more mindful. I was able to tell myself like, okay, boom, it's time to reset. Now it's time to lock in to what we have in front of us.
And
you know what I mean?
That's a great segue to unlock Soulz.
Right.
Because when we first spoke, the mental game, the mental status of being an athlete and performing off and off the court, it's not really focused on by each player, you know? Everybody feels they're invincible when they're younger and stuff like that. That's something you want to change. I want you to talk about Unlock Soulz because I think it's an incredible initiative, you know?
Yeah. So Unlock Soulz, that's my brand. And like you mentioned, it all came about pretty much me, paying attention to more of my mental side of things and being more mindful. Excuse me. And it also came about like all after my injury, that major injury as well. It helped me tap into that, you know? I read a couple books. I read a book by George Mumford. It was called The Mindful Athlete. A good friend got me that book. And then when The Mindful
Athlete. Okay.
So when after my injury, I had so much time to myself, right? So I read that book and it like kind of detailed being in the zone, you know, your awareness of your breath, meditation. It tied into, he worked with the Chicago Bulls, like Michael Jordan and you know, helping him tap into his zone and that flow state as well. So like it was a book it got me back into reading, and then also I was able to relate with it, right? And I started to help or like almost like figure myself out more. Like I'm noticing, why do I act like this, and why, and what is this I'm feeling, you know what I mean? And it's like things we don't know about when we're younger, as far as like, you know, having anxieties for certain things, you know what I mean? As athletes and as people, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Okay,
you know what 100%. I mean? And anxiety works. It can work. We could use anxiety to help fuel us. You know what I mean? Because you're so anxious that it makes you perform better because you don't want to fail. But also on the flip side, the anxiety can also mess with you and take you to a point where you're just putting so much focus and pressure on it that you can't perform well because you're just thinking about it so much, right?
When it's not controlled.
When it's not controlled, right? So it's like me noticing that, I just made I put that all together and then came up with my brand, Unlock Soulz, and I made the brand mainly. It was like a tool of me figuring myself out, you know what I mean? And then I enjoyed figuring myself out, and then I just started making posts and putting things together and just putting together a page. And the whole point of the page was like, it's almost, in a way, if you look at it, it's like me. It's like my story of like the stages of me figuring myself out and getting to from here and then getting to a certain point. And then what I found was a lot of people connect with it, right? Because a lot of people go through it as well and are kind of like lost as well, but don't know what it really is or don't want to talk about it. And then it's like when I started posting certain things, I'd have certain people like hit me up like one-on-one, like, yo, man, like this is sick what you're doing. Like, yo, I feel that. I feel the same way. You know what I mean? And that made me feel good because I'm like, this is partly like what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for people like us, man, that like feel like we can't talk about it. You know what I mean? We can't let you know that, damn, like, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit anxious on this. Like I'm an overthinker. I got to figure out how I can help myself or maybe talk to somebody to get it out. You know what I mean? Because we all like to keep things in to ourselves. So I feel like that was a form of expression for me.
And one thing I noticed that I picked up on, that never started for you until the injury. So do you feel like there's got to be some sort of trauma that could somebody that hasn't gotten injured or just
like a major
situation, still be proactive and adjust and train for, you know, to be, you know, to have the mindset, strong mindset?
Yeah, I feel that because if you pay attention, like if you see it, and we could also learn from other people as well. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we don't even have to make the mistake because we could learn from somebody else's mistake, right? And if you're aware of that and you're like, oh, okay, so I can see that's what kind of got him to that level, or that's what happened, and you're paying attention, or he made this mistake in this situation, and maybe you're at that point where one decision here can make or break the the side that you go on, right? And you being aware of what that person went through, it's like, okay, he kind of went down. That's what happened. You know, that's like if you study something, you're like, that's where the downfall happened. So how could we combat that so we don't run into that right there? It's like you can learn from other people's mistakes as well, and that can help you move forward.
This is a great program and a lesson that you could share with the youth, and that's something you want to do. And you're currently doing.
Right.
You were just at a tournament, and at what age do you recommend this type of process? If some kid want to play basketball, wants to do well in basketball, when can they what age or what grade do you think they should start really thinking about this? Part of their diet, but of course on the mental side.
Oh man, the earlier the better. You know what I mean? I feel like around maybe I would say like the 11, 12, like right before you get to that teenage type of thing, because it's like, especially when you're dealing with like sports, around like the 12, 13, 14 is when, you know, maybe that's like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, where now sports, it starts to become more competitive and less for fun. And it's like now you're starting to realize some people are going this way. Some of your friends who are more better are going more on a different path than you. You know what I mean? Like they're making the team and maybe you're not making the team, or maybe you made the team, he's playing and you're not. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's two different. So it's hard to deal with that because as you grow up, basketball or sports, but in my case, basketball is like pretty much all you know. You play with your friends all throughout this time. And then when you get to the high schools, now when it starts to get competitive and there's better players, right? You guys start to go your separate ways, right? Because it's then he starts to go in this way where now he's able to get a scholarship, and basketball might not be for you because maybe you're just not as good as him and the rest of the guys. So it's like now you got cut from that team. So now you guys don't hang out as much, right? So when he's going to basketball practice, you're going home. School's done for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's always that gray area for those kids, and that's where the issues, where the trouble comes in, and the confusion, the depression, the outbursts and the lashes. That's where it comes from, because they're dealing with a whirlwind of emotions that they don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? Because we're so conditioned to not talk about it.
100%. I think sports has saved so many people's lives, to be on young people's lives.
Right.
And it's smart. It's smart it's actually a good thing that, you know, you're developing this earlier on, because you just never know who you're going to save, really.
Right. No, exactly. And it's like, that's why I say it's like the earlier the better, because then you could teach them that, you know what, at the earlier age, it's like, we know you love this sport, but what else do you like?
Right.
What are your other hobbies? You know what I mean? Because that way you can work on both.
Yeah.
So if one doesn't go for you, like, you can directly go into this way, and it's like no different, it's not much of a drop off, right? Because it's like now you know what else you can get into, and instead of that having that, oh man, now I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So it's like if we can get in there and show these kids like, yo, it's okay. Like I had friends that didn't go pro and are still doing amazing to this day. You know, you could still have a great life,
a
great career, a great
family,
life,
you know?
right?
Yeah.
In other avenues.
Yeah.
So don't worry. Don't feel like you're a loser. Don't feel like you're not worth anything. Don't try to hide away now or lash out. It's okay. And this is where we can help step in and detect that early.
I mean, like, basketball is just not dribbling a ball and shooting out a basket.
Right.
And basketball is a business.
Business.
It's a big business.
Right.
And your career doesn't have to be on the court always.
Right.
And so if we can condition them and say, hey, look it's outside, like, not everybody's going to make it.
Right. Not everybody's going to make it. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just life. But that's such a good initiative. Where it is at right now, Unlock Soulz, I know you're developing it. I know you're working on some programs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you can talk about it at this point or not, but if you can, that'll be great because I think it's fantastic from the mental side of things and developing. So where is that at right now?
Well, still developing. Can't really go into too much details on that stuff yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some things is
You're working on it or something.
it's
going to be exciting.
Is being worked on.
Yeah.
But all in all is, right now we're trying to make we're refining the logo, refining the brand, everything, and just building the foundation.
Right.
I really want to just build the foundation. I've been more experienced now talking to other people in those type of fields, just being around it. And now I'm also an assistant coach, at the SC Academy.
Nice.
So I'm being able to have firsthand experience with, like, in this field, like, with these kids, and it's helping me going back to the drawing board and make notes pretty much, you know what I mean? So
you're creating that pipeline.
Yes. You know what I mean?
Working on that, you're building a relationship, which we can't talk about right now, but like once that's done, you have now an avenue to take it over and validate it.
Right. And the biggest thing is like I know exactly like what I want to do.
Gotcha.
And what like where I want to go with it now. You know what I mean? Like at first it was like an idea, but now I know kind of like what the areas I want to go with it, how I want to also have a non-for-profit, you know what I mean, and initiative and to give back that way. You know what I mean? It's just like a whole thing. Now I'm building building the foundations to all, and tying all of that in it. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be just as far as like posts and stuff. It's going to be very active and very hands-on.
And it's working out how it's supposed to, which is so cool to see.
Yeah.
Is coaching in your career, like in your future? Because because you kind of coach on.
I know. Yeah. It's part of, having experience from like, the summer and just being around the guys, being the oldest guy on the team, right? And being the vet. It helped me retrain my brain and to look at the game from a different perspective and come from more of a teaching aspect and helping put guys in better positions for themselves and even better positions than I was to reach higher levels than I did. You know what I mean? So it's funny because one of the coaches, like a couple of the coaches on the coaching staff were like, yo, have you ever thought to like go into coaching? And I was like, hell no. I'm like, nah, hell no. I always used to say like, when I'm done with hooping, I'm done, right? But after this summer, tying into the brand, having different talks with different people, and then Shamar Coons, who is the head coach and who runs the Shamar Coons Academy that I'm the assistant coach at.
Woodbridge area.
The Woodbridge area. He kind of was talking to me about it before he actually launched it and everything, like last year, and he was whispering it to me, like, yo, I'd love to have you around, you know what I mean? And I was just, I thought about it, and I'm like, I'd like to be around, like, as far as just like, maybe just like a little mentor or something on the side, but as far as like coaching now that I've been around, I'm like, I enjoy this shit,
it's something about it. I mean, you're orchestrating and you're leading a group of young people into doing something that eventually, you wish to work for. That's a feeling of like self-accomplishment.
Yeah, I love it. It's like you're teaching these young kids. It's like we're teaching them things not only on the court basketball wise, but life.
Gotcha.
Life skills, man. Like the way how we grew up, Shamar and I, and like the conditions, playing street ball outside, our experiences going through. He also went Division I. Our experiences going down south, then playing pro. He was also a pro. It's like having two guys like that as your coach is like phenomenal. You gotta like, we're trying to.
I hope they realize that
they're getting along. They're getting along. We're older now, right? So they're looking like your first thing is whatever, coach.
Yeah.
But it's funny. The other day, we really had to tell them like, yo, bro, have you ever? Do you know? Like, have you ever researched your coaches?
Yeah.
Looking like, what? All right, just put my name in. I don't even do that. But I'm just like, yo, you guys.
No respect.
Now you guys are gonna have to stop talking like this. Like, just type my name in.
Yeah.
Just like this, and you have a couple. Oh, coach, I didn't know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So obviously,
that's what young people are like, though.
That's what it is. I can't blame them. I was the same way, right? So love them for that, man.
Before we wrapped up, just a little quick note of how it has been as being a father. Mm-hmm. I know. I believe she's 4 years old.
Yeah.
And how's that's been, and how's that kind of changed you as a man? You know.
Man, I have a beautiful daughter, Zara. She's 4. It's a lot of energy, man. She's very special, man.
Right.
Like a lot of energy. She's very smart. She's an athlete.
She's an athlete.
She's an athlete, but it changed me like as a man. You know what I mean? As a man first, and it just helped me to like mature and look at things in like a different perspective, a different way. You know what I mean? Yeah. And obviously, it's like now you're just not living for yourself. You have somebody else that, you know what I mean, that you have to take care of, that you help bring into this world. So as a man, you got to take care of your duties, and you got to go above and beyond sacrifices. You know what I mean? Like that's the biggest thing is, yo, you might want to do this, but
nope.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if you want to do this, then you better show up for this. There's no excuse. You know what I mean? Because you put yourself in that situation, right? So there's no excuse. So take care of, you know what I mean, of the things that you have to take care of, man, as a man. And, just learning from not having a father there. Obviously, it's like it's a double-edged sword because you know you don't want to be like this because you know what I mean? Like that, you know, like you don't want to be like this. So it's like, you want to be there for everything, and then on the other end is also like you're just every day is learning.
That's right.
You're learning, right? You're figuring. I'm also figuring it out on the fly as well. So it's trial and error. But
and you know what?
As long as you try,
that's supposed to happen. That's as organic as possible. But what a blessing, right?
Yeah,
now, if people want to connect with you, engage you, social media, or just your. I think you got an Unlock Soul IG. What's your IG handle?
Yeah.
So people could connect with you.
Yeah. So it's _ Unlock Soulz with a Z at the end. And then you can also find me at _ Uncle Mully.
Uncle Mully.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. Thanks.